If you're over 60, your doctor won't advise you that there are 4 cheeses you must eat, and 4 you should never touch. Unbeknownst to you, consuming the incorrect kinds of cheese can raise your risk of heart disease by as much as 40%, per a 2023 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. According to the same study, saturated fats in some well-known cheeses can subtly cause clogged arteries, elevated blood pressure, and even transient ischemic episodes, which are mini-strokes. Considerably worse, a lot of these supposedly innocuous cheeses are promoted as gourmet or healthful, which makes them considerably riskier. Furthermore, it extends beyond the heart. Certain cheeses can subtly hasten cognitive decline, cause blood sugar problems, and increase inflammation. Indeed, even something as basic and harmless as a grilled cheese sandwich or a creamy wedge on a cracker could be setting off a health time bomb, particularly if you're over 60 and your body's capacity to metabolize fats and sodium is considerably diminished. And hold off till you learn about the cheese that is the most deadly. It's much more poisonous than you've ever been warned, and you've undoubtedly consumed it. Stay tuned, because we are about to unveil the cheese that experts now refer to as a stroke on a plate. Don't worry though, not all cheeses are bad. If you know which to pick, some can actually be quite effective guardians of your gut, brain, and bones. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments section below before we start. For more videos like this, remember to subscribe to our channel and like this one. Without further ado, let's begin the list of the top 4 cheeses that everyone over 60 should consume. The 4th item is mozzarella, particularly buffalo or fresh mozzarella. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. Put aside your preconceived notions about mozzarella. One of the greatest cheeses you may consume after the age of 60 is mozzarella, provided it is fresh and lightly processed. Real mozzarella, especially genuine buffalo mozzarella, is prepared using just water, buffalo milk, salt, rennet, and cultures, as opposed to their highly processed, rubbery shredded counterparts that you can buy in plastic bags at the grocery store. This purity results in a cheese that is rich in high-quality protein, low in sodium, and relatively low in saturated fat. Indeed, a 2022 study published in the European Journal of Nutrition revealed that older persons who ate fresh cheeses like mozzarella that were low in salt had improved vascular flexibility and experienced fewer flare-ups of arthritis. Its high calcium to sodium ratio and inherent anti-inflammatory qualities are probably the cause of that. The balance of fresh mozzarella is another feature that makes it appealing to elders. Because it has less lactose, it is easier to digest and is high in vital minerals including calcium, phosphorus, and selenium. Higher quantities of vitamin A and zinc, as well as greater antioxidant capacity, are found in buffalo milk in particular. These nutrients are essential for older persons to maintain a robust immune system and good vision. Additionally, it's one of the few cheeses that maintains significant concentrations of bioactive peptides, natural substances produced during fermentation that have been demonstrated to have blood pressure-lowering properties. Additionally, mozzarella has a large quantity of conjugated linoleic acid, a fatty acid that promotes fat metabolism and lowers inflammation. 2 things that are particularly crucial for treating chronic illnesses like arthritis and joint pain. Additionally, mozzarella is quite adaptable. Enjoy it in a simple salad, melt it over grilled veggies, or slice it onto tomatoes with basil and olive oil for a traditional appresi. It is fulfilling without being burdensome. Therefore, mozzarella is a great everyday choice if you're searching for a cheese that promotes immunological, bone, and heart health without causing bloat or blood pressure increases. Feta cheese is number 3. Given its salty and sour flavor, feta frequently surprises people when it makes the good list. However, here's the reality. Feta is one of the healthiest cheeses for those over 60 when consumed in moderation. Feta, which is usually made from sheep's milk or a combination of sheep and goat milk, has a distinct protein structure that is kinder to aging digestive systems and has less lactose than cow's milk cheese, making it simpler to digest. The nutritional profile of feta is what really makes it stand out. Compared to creamier cheeses, it has less fat, but it still has a lot of calcium, protein, and vitamin B12, all of which are important for healthy neurological function, bone strength, and muscle mass as you age. The presence of probiotics, or beneficial bacteria that are essential for gut health, in feta is one of its most notable advantages. Probiotic-rich foods like feta can help improve digestion, reduce bloating, and even promote immunological function, because seniors frequently deal with digestive difficulties or diminished microbiome variety as a result of drugs and age-related changes. A tiny quantity goes a long way without overburdening you with calories or sodium because of its brainy flavor, which also means you don't need much to be satisfied. Additionally, because it's a crumbly cheese, portion control is naturally encouraged. A simple addition of a few crumbles to roasted veggies or a salad can make your dinner more filling and nutritious. Feta can be made even safer for people with high blood pressure by washing it before use, which can cut the sodium level by up to 30% if you're worried about the salt. Swiss cheese comes in second. With its unique holes and subtle nutty flavor, Swiss cheese provides seniors with a tasty array of health advantages. Swiss cheese's surprisingly low sodium content, just 54 milligrams per ounce, or roughly 75% less than most other hard cheeses, may be its most noteworthy benefit. Because of this, Swiss is a great choice for senior citizens who wish to enjoy the enjoyment of a traditional cheese while keeping an eye on their blood pressure or treating heart diseases. One of the most naturally lactose-free cheese options available, Swiss cheese's natural aging process reduces lactose to almost nothing, addressing the increased lactose sensitivity that many adults experience as they age. According to research, the particular bacterial cultures used to make Swiss cheese, Propionibacterium freudenreichi in particular, produce advantageous chemicals during fermentation, which have been connected to enhanced immune function in older persons. Vitamin K2, which is produced by the same fermentation processes, is essential for preventing calcium from accumulating in arteries and instead guiding it to the bones. With about 220 milligrams per ounce, Swiss cheese is also a great source of calcium, which helps older persons who are experiencing age-related bone density loss meet their higher calcium requirements. At almost 8 grams per ounce, the protein content is likewise outstanding, providing the vital amino acids required to counteract the loss that usually speeds up after 60. The high content of vitamin B12 in Swiss, which provides almost 16% of the recommended intake per ounce, makes it especially beneficial for brain health, since it addresses the decreased absorption of B12 that is typical with aging and affects cognitive function. Additionally, according to recent research, the particular fatty acid composition of Alpine-style cheeses, such as Swiss, may help lower inflammation indicators in senior citizens. For elders, the characteristic holes in Swiss cheese really have a practical use. They are created by gas-releasing bacteria that aid in the breakdown of the cheese's constituents as it ages, making the cheese simpler to digest. First place. Goat cheese. Goat cheese is one cheese that ought to be a regular fixture in your refrigerator after the age of 60. Goat cheese is more than just a deliciously creamy treat. It is among the most nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory, and easily digested cheeses on the market. Short and medium-chain fatty acids give goat milk's lipids their natural structure. For you, what does that mean? As your metabolism slows down with age, they are especially beneficial because they are much easier for your liver to process and less likely to be deposited as body fat. Better yet, goat cheese is generally lower in casein, the main dairy protein that many individuals have problems digesting, and lactose, which makes it more palatable to the gut and less likely to induce bloating or discomfort. Probiotics, The good bacteria that aid with immunity, digestion, and even mood management are abundant in goat cheese. Our gut microbiome's diversity declines with age, which might impair immunity and raise inflammation. Goat cheese aids in the natural restoration of that equilibrium. It is also rich in zinc, which promotes tissue regeneration and immunological function, and selenium, which is essential for thyroid health and antioxidant protection. However, its contribution to brain health is arguably its most underappreciated advantage. Healthy omega-3 fats and a special kind of vitamin A that promotes memory and cognitive function can be found in goat cheese. Nutrient-rich cheeses, such as goat cheese, are currently being studied for their potential to prevent Alzheimer's disease and even postpone the onset of age-related cognitive decline. Goat cheese also has a clear label, few ingredients, no additions, and no artificial components, in contrast to processed cheeses. Goat cheese adds taste and functionality to every meal, whether it's crumbled over a salad, spread on whole grain toast, or combined with vegetables in an omelet. After discussing the top 4 cheeses you should consume, let's move on to the less desirable ones, which you should absolutely stay away from if you're older than 60. American cheese comes in at number 4. Even while it could make you miss grilled cheese sandwiches from your youth, this cheese-like product shouldn't be a part of your diet as you get older. In all honesty, American cheese isn't really a cheese at all. Emulsifiers, additional salt, artificial coloring, and preservatives are blended with real cheese to create this processed dish. You should be concerned about the sodium content alone, as one slice contains about 15% of your daily recommended intake. This extra salt load can have a big effect on blood pressure control for seniors who are already dealing with cardiac issues or hypertension. Since gut health directly affects immune function and inflammatory levels throughout the body, it becomes more crucial to maintain gut bacterial balance as we age. The emulsifiers used to generate that smooth texture have been related to disturbances in gut flora. Additionally, processed cheese frequently contains artificial phosphates that might hinder calcium absorption, which is a serious issue for elderly people who are already battling age-related bone loss. These phosphate additions, which have been particularly investigated in older populations, exhibit a startling association with accelerated arterial calcification, which is essentially a faster rate of artery hardening that happens naturally as people age. There are plenty of better cheese alternatives that can satiate your appetites without the unsettling additives, so the convenience just isn't worth the health trade-offs. Third, blue cheese. This is when things become complex. Although blue cheese frequently exudes a sense of gourmet refinement, it can quickly become harmful to elderly people. The distinctive marbled mold isn't merely for flavor, it's Penicillium mold, an active fungus that generates biogenic substances like tyramine and histamine. These are quickly broken down in younger, healthy people. However, as people age, the body's enzymatic activity declines and these substances persist, leading to actual injury. A 2023 study that was published in the journal Food Chemistry claims that elderly persons who consume high amounts of tyramine may get migraines, significant blood pressure rises, and even cardiac arrhythmias. Some people experience dizziness at the beginning of this biochemical roller coaster, which finishes with ER visits. Blue cheese's mold concentration raises the possibility of listeria contamination as well, particularly if the cheese is soft, unpasteurized, or stored incorrectly. That is a potentially fatal infection for people with weakened immune systems. What's frightening is how silently it hits. Light palpitations, a throbbing headache, or a flushed face could be the initial symptoms. Then comes the tightness in the chest, ringing in the ears, and a heavy feeling of pressure that is frequently mistakenly attributed to aging or stress. In actuality, your vascular stability is being gradually eroded by a neurotoxic overload. Additionally, blue cheese is a complete no-go if you have kidney issues or high blood pressure. With over 400 milligrams of sodium per ounce, It's among the saltiest cheeses on the market. Some milder cheeses have twice that amount. You're facing a perfect storm of risks that can block your arteries and raise your blood pressure when you combine it with the high cream content seen in some blue cheese variants. Many folks don't associate their favorite blue cheese wedge with their frequent headaches or stomach aches. However, it frequently serves as the covert reason for enigmatic chronic symptoms in older persons. Cream cheese comes in second. Cream cheese doesn't appear too offensive at first. It spreads well, is soft, and goes well with morning bagels. However, that silky feel conceals a potentially harmful fat bomb, particularly for anyone over 60. Cream cheese has little protein and a lot of saturated fat. In other words, it provides you with a low-nutrient, high-calorie hit that falls short of meeting your body's actual nutritional requirements. Rather, it promotes the storage of fat, particularly in the stomach. Weight management becomes even more difficult when an energy-dense, nutrient-poor food like cream cheese is added to a metabolism that is already slowing down as a result of age-related muscle loss. However, bacterial contamination is another risk associated with cream cheese that is rarely discussed. Cream cheese is more likely to have Listeria, a dangerous bacteria that can seriously endanger elderly people due to its soft texture. Not merely a gastrointestinal ailment, Listeria can cause septicemia or meningitis in elderly people with compromised immune systems. When cream cheese is kept out of the refrigerator, even for a short time, like at workplace parties or breakfast spreads, the risk increases. And here's something else. Cream cheese is frequently sweetened with flavors like honey walnut or strawberry. These versions covertly include additional sugars, which exacerbates the issue. Insulin is raised by sugar, which encourages the storage of fat and increases inflammation. Now you have to cope with foods that are high in fat, sugar, and possibly bacteria, all in what a lot of people think is an innocuous morning food. For everyone over 60, it's a triple threat that, regrettably, is frequently overlooked. First place, spreads made using processed cheese. The processed cheese spread, the kind that arrives in tubs, jars, or those tiny triangles wrapped in foil, is the one cheese that really merits the moniker stroke on a plate. It may appear harmless, particularly when promoted as kid-friendly or simple to spread, but don't be fooled. For everyone over 60, this is the most deadly cheese. Why? Since it incorporates the worst aspects of every prior perpetrator: a startling number of chemical ingredients, excessive saturated fats, and extremely high sodium. The way processed cheese spreads are made is what makes them so poisonous. They are more than just softened cheeses. They undergo chemical treatment, emulsification, and stabilization using artificial substances such as sodium phosphate, a preservative that has been connected to kidney harm. Kidney damage, indeed. Phosphate additions greatly exacerbate whatever impaired kidney function that you may already have, which is more frequent as we age. Over time, they put strain on your kidneys, which might result in renal failure or illness. Furthermore, this is hardly a fringe hypothesis. Phosphate additions in processed foods have been linked to declining kidney health in a number of studies, including one from the National Kidney Foundation. However, that is only the start. Additionally, some spreads contain a lot of trans fats, or partly hydrogenated oils, which are prohibited in many countries, but are nevertheless found in some low-cost cheese products. Trans fats increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes by increasing bad cholesterol, LDL, and decreasing good cholesterol, HDL. People mistakenly believe it to be lighter than hard cheese because of its smooth, creamy texture. But it's much worse in terms of nutrition. Due to the inflammatory effects of synthetic chemicals on brain function, this may result in accelerated cognitive decline for those over 60. Therefore, this is the cheese you should remove from your refrigerator today. It is not only unhealthy, but it is also quite aggressive from a biological standpoint. Ultimately, cheese need not be the adversary of good health after the age of 60. It might actually be one of the tastiest items in your nutritional toolbox if you choose it carefully. Knowing which ones gradually work against your aging body and which ones support it is the key. We'd like to hear from you now. How many of these cheeses are a frequent part of your diet? Have you attempted to replace some of the harmful ones with more healthful ones? Please leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. We enjoy listening to them. Thank you for viewing.